Actually, I was just calling one of my poems there. I don't really speak like that, honestly. And thank you so much for all being so obedient there. I could get kind of used to this. I was a teacher, but it was so long ago. In fact, my son, I stopped work to have him, and he's 43, so...
They don't stop talking anymore, they just keep going.
Ah, yeah, that's why I don't do school visits anymore, it drives me crazy. So welcome back everyone, and I am just blown away by this afternoon. People keep saying, are you okay, Maggie? You're enjoying yourself? Now, hi, taking me down from the ceiling, and it's all been so worth it, but we're not over yet, because we have some fabulous poets and readers to finish up. And the first, I'm trying to think if there's anything I forgot to tell you. Did we give you instructions at the start on how to where to find emergency exits? I just can't it's a bit late for that one.
This looks like a threat.
If I could just say to those who are in the book who are here, because I remembered at the break there, I've got 3,000 things to remember. Abigail Otley, who is in the book, who lives in Cornwall, so she cannot be here, and she's got 3 wonderful poems in the book, asked me if I would have a copy signed by as many of the readers as possible to donate to Women's Centre venue in Cornwall. So if you could catch up with me on that copy before you scuttle off to get another drink. But before that, we've got some great readers. So I would like to welcome up, first of all, someone I'm absolutely delighted to have everyone in the anthology. But Victoria I've known for a few years. I don't know how much she did poetry, but she's a very, very experienced writer. She has written novels and memoirs and other non-fiction. Her 2017 book about Orkney, Swimming with Seals, was shortlisted for the Pen Ackerley Prize, and if you've not tried it, get your hands on that book, it is wonderful. She has another memoir, Dust and Pomegranates, coming out in 2024, as well as a study of the Book of Kells. And Victoria lives in Edinburgh, but today she's in Glasgow.
I may not be able to go back to Edinburgh after saying this, but I can't think of anywhere I would rather be this afternoon. Thank you so much, Maggie. And I've had the enormous privilege of being one of Maggie's students in the online writing group, which was just such a joy. And one of the assignments she gave us was to write a poem about a part of your body. And I thought, you know, there are various obvious parts of one's body that one might write about, affectionately or less so. And then I thought, no, I am going to write about my right fist. Left leg forward, right leg back. Jab, jab, unapologetic. Cross hook, look out world. Uppercut, my weight behind it. Jab, jab, correct my stance, pivot from the hip. Magic, and yes, that is his name, this trainer half my age. Magic keeps shuffling backwards. I advance, my padded fist connects. I love that smack. Left leg forward, right leg back. Correct again, my stance, light on my feet. Bounce, bounce, jab, jab, uppercut, uppercut. My strong right fist, when it lands true, with all my weight behind it, then leaps up to guard my face and gives my weaker left its chance. Cross, jab, dance. And then my second poem is a little bit longer, and the last time I read it was on the 7th of March 2020 outside Holyrood, and I was dressed as a suffragette, and I was absolutely screaming with rage, partly because Patrick Harvey, among the other things that he had said in Holyrood, was that he was a proud cis man. So this is, they told me I was a cis woman. I asked what cis meant. They said, cis women feel no mismatch between their biological sex and their gender identity. They say, it's Latin. As though it were the word of God. They say, it's just an adjective, when actually it's a prefix. They say, it's not a slur. It is a slur. It's a slap in the face. It's a scold's bridle. They say, it's just the opposite of trans. Cis women, stay in your lane. You have no monopoly on womanhood. Cis gasps in a too tight corset. Cis totters on too high heels. Cis calls her makeup her face and won't leave the house without it. Cis women feel no mismatch between their biological sex and their gender identity. No speed bumps, or potholes, or square pegs in round holes. Cis women flow effortlessly from childhood into womanhood. No need for de Beauvoir, no painful becoming, just sleep waltzing into full femininity. Cis women know what to do with their hair. No effort, no burden, no caricature. It's never a drag. It's just who they are, because they're worth it. Cis womanhood is never pushed on girls by advertising, by magazines, by TikTok and Tumblr, by mothers fearful of what happens to girls who don't girl properly, by fathers who approve of pretty, compliant girls. Real cis women feel like a woman 24/7. How exhausting. Always on show, if only to yourself. Skimpy clothes, high heels, makeup, dieting, gossip, doing other women down. How can cis women be friends with each other? Form alliances, build a movement. Cis women love the chains that bind them. It was bad enough when the cis woman was Virginia Woolf's looking glass, possessing the magical and delicious power of reflecting the figure of man at twice his actual size. It was bad enough when the cis woman was Betty Friedan's smiling middle-class housewife, her brains curdling with boredom. No wonder, in this sadistic, porn-sick world, we have not built. We are ordered to be cis women. When #ChokeMeDaddy is a Twitter hashtag, a schoolyard catchphrase. It was bad enough, but now cis women feel no mismatch between their biological sex and their gender identity. Cis women feel no mismatch between their biological sex and their performance of femininity. No mismatch between their biological sex and their drag act, their biological sex and their oppression. So, maybe you're a happy cisgendered man, Patrick. That's not in here, Maggie. So you have to write Patrick. So maybe you're a happy cisgendered man. Happy celebrating your place at the top of the hierarchy, shouting women down, silencing us, ignoring us. Fine! You do you. But we won't shut up, and we won't lie down. We are not your magic mirror. We are not your support humans. We are not your toys. We are not cis women. We are women! Thank you.
That was wonderful. And I'm sorry I edited. Left from it. I thought it might date the book. Sometimes when you put somebody's name in there. That was great. Thank you very much, Victoria. And the next poet who's coming up here is somebody I've known on Facebook for some time but not met. And she is Arwen Webb, who's come here today from the Yorkshire Dales. And she co-founded Richmond Shire Writers in 2013, and her poems have appeared in various anthologies and magazines, and she performs at local literary events. And it's not in here, but sometimes after them, she gets into trouble. She is passionate about women's sex-based rights, and I would like to welcome Arwen to the stage.
Thank you for including my poem. Hope you like my t-shirt, by the way. We're all witches, aren't we? So this is a bit of a witchy poem. It's called Cataclysm. Later that night, we took her body back, held her close. We bathed her peeled skin, wrapped her flesh in soft cloth. Her face, her beautiful face. Not a hair left, the violence still seen in the hollows of her eyes. We saw the pain of her slow death, consumed, gagged, her legs bone from the knee down. In the morning light, we ran home across the hills to our baby girls, to clutch them and whisper spells into their tiny ears, prophecies hurled through generations. We will name our bodies. We will name our experience. We are the women. We are the sisters. We are the mothers. We are the daughters. We are the granddaughters of the witches you did not burn.
That was wonderful to hear you reading that in your own voice, Arwen. And we are now going to have one of our Dublin contingent up. And this poet is called Liz Houchin, and Liz was the exchange person from Dublin with the Scottish Poetry Library earlier this year, at the Poetry Island Port in Residence with the Scottish Poetry Library, so she was over. And that's not when I met her. I met her a bit after that. I'm so sad that I missed her while she was here. Well, we then discovered we had a lot in common. And Liz has been fantastically supportive with me bringing out this book. She was there when I was getting into panics about how I would do everything. She was there when I couldn't work out how to do Shopify, and I included her in the thing, and she sorted it all out and sorted out the postages. And she's just been so supportive. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome her up to the stage now. Liz Houghton.
Like everyone here, I write because when you lose your voice, you lose everything. Erasure. What is it about me you are so afraid of? Every time I dare think I'm drawn in permanent marker, you take something away. And I realise to you, I am only an idea, sketched and soft to be vulnerable to your fingertips. I rub my eyes gently and try to understand your end game. Do you want me to not be? Do you want to be me? You smell victory either way, but really, have you thought this through? As you sharpen your pencil, to imagine me again, getting smaller all the time, but point well made. You will only have yourself to blame. And the second poem is the last of the collection, and I basically imagined what happens if we are all convinced that black is white and up is down, and that the earth is in fact flat. By the end of June, the earth was flat again. We stood mute at the decal edge, our voices cut at the end of the age of argument, when all was said and nothing. The hopeful peered over, tilting an ear to the black for the bounce of pennies and tennis balls, the sound of the end of empty. The believers held hands and jumped as the final proof they could fly. The lie remained unwinged, and now damp toes scuttled back, the shoreline pulping with tears, falling away, falling like wet snow at night. Children wrote their names on cockled rocks with the nib of a sharp stone. Noughts and crosses scratched the truth. We watched them play and felt the gravity of want. They asked who had curved the world. The question stung our eyes. Then a plea to those we called witches for warning we were wrong. See that we are ready now. Revive the artists we flattened with the earth. We curved their fractured fingers around charcoal and chalk, pressed to a birch peel, nailed to a flitch of oak, and prayed in single silence for the skill to hatch and shade, for the gift to sketch the globe, for the wit to let it spin. Thank you.
I tell you, I had an absolutely wonderful time reading all the poems that were sent. It was fabulous, and such a range of voices, and as Jean said earlier, a range of ages. But I have accidentally skipped over someone that should have been up here because I forgot to take my wee bit of paper down when I sat down. And I would like to welcome someone who is not going to read a poem, but she's going to tell us about something. And she, I first saw her in a women's meeting a few years ago now, I think. And I was so impressed. That was when it was Edinburgh University, actually. And I was so impressed by this person. And she and a couple of her colleagues have done such fabulous work. So many of you will know that I'm introducing Lucy Hunter Blackburn.